You ready? I'd like to call to order the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency Budget Workshop meeting, August 27, 2019. Madam Roll Call.
Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Lanier?
Here.
Commissioner McCoy?
Here.
Vice Chair Botel?
Here.
Chair Miller Anderson?
Present.
Also present Scott Evans, Interim Executive Director and General Counsel Michael Haygood.
All right, we'll have a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman McCoy.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, discussion by Mr. Scott Evans.
Good evening, Chair and CRA board members.
Good evening.
Tonight is our third budget workshop. For our schedule for tonight, we have review of administration and all of the draft budget details and costs, including Clean and Safe, Marina Village, neighborhood services, and updates on our special events. The next budget meeting will be on September 11th. This will include a presentation of our 2020 work plan and the final budget review and consideration by the board. And the 2020 work plan includes everything that the board has approved for us to proceed with this evening, conceptually, as well as all of the other projects that we have underway that are already approved in this year's budget that are continuing into next year. And again, we'll start with administration, followed by Clean and Safe, Marina Village, neighborhood services, and then we would close with special events. Our revenue for this year is up. The tax increment revenue is approximately $8.73 million, which is up about $300,000 from last year. And this is a combination of dollars from Palm Beach County and the city of Riviera Beach. This year, for our 2020 redevelopment programs that we would like to renew, we would like to renew a third round of the commercial grant incentive program. This provides a 4-to-1 match to invest in our commercial properties throughout the CRA. If a private property owner wants to invest $1, we'll match that with up to $4, up to a maximum of $40,000. This grant over the years has resulted in millions of dollars of investment, with some of our grant recipients investing hundreds of thousands of dollars with just our $40,000 match. And we have a good anticipation that this grant would be well applied for also. When the last round closed, that you will consider the second round tomorrow night at our regular CRA board meeting. When the last round closed, there was many businesses who are close to getting ready to do some additional improvements to their properties. And this program helps us to not only improve existing properties, but it improves the overall look and feel of our main corridors and our commercial properties. So we know that there's a number of property owners who are interested in this program being renewed. The other program we'd like to continue is our mural program. And I'm very excited to announce that the Florida Redevelopment Association has just recently announced their awards for this fiscal year. And the redevelopment agency received a statewide award for our mural program. So I just want to congratulate my staff and the board. We'll receive that award at the Florida Redevelopment Association Conference, which is on October 16th through 18th, and that's in Tampa. So we will send out more information to the board, and we'll post that award information as well as a press release later this week. But we're very excited about that, and we hope you'll join us to receive that award from the Redevelopment Association. Another project, this is going to be our third year that we're proposing to continue the Tiki Market. And this project would continue with a similar budget to last year, which is $34,000. And last year, we really challenged our manager to really try and grow the market, which they did. We had over double the the amount of people and activities happening at the market. And so this year we want to continue to grow it, try to make it a real destination to get people to come and visit Marina Village. And so I'll have a brief presentation by our event center manager, Allie, and our consultant who also runs one of the markets in Lake Worth, Peter. So if they could just come on up and I'll let them present what they have in mind for this year for the Tiki Market.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Commissioners and Director, CRA Director. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you this evening. We are thrilled to return to present to you the great success we had in launching our first season and the exciting plans we have for season number 2. Tiki Market at Marina Village is about a great vibe and spirited music. Tonight we present to you one of Tiki Market's jazz artists. Please welcome Yvette Norwood.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Yvette Norwood Tiger, and I want to thank Allie for having me be a part of this special occasion.
Good evening.
So this is one of the songs that is in my repertoire. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing my song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. I never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right, noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my how they fly, oh blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies, nothing but blue skies, nothing but blue skies from now on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mr. Evans, and we're thrilled to be here to take you through the success we had in Season 1 of the Tiki Market and the plans for Season 2. So I'm just going to take you through the development that we went through and how we executed it. I think. Perfect. So I just wanted to tell you again what the concept was that I created for this event, which was executed in the first season. We wanted island eats and exotic treats, and we wanted that to be accomplished with a selection of artisans, with music, and with food. The Tiki Market at the Marina Village is a happy hour vibe with the Tiki touch tones, a mix of island fare and wares. We had conch fritters, Caribbean barbecue, Jamaican jerk chicken. We had coconut in the half shell. We had great artisans selling products that they'd made and reminiscent of a Caribbean and Bahamian beachside shops. That was the goal and the concept. We always had danceable music and fresh tropical drinks. There were very few markets in Palm Beach County that capitalized on their location. And we realized with Tiki Market at Marina Village, it was about the location. So we're well branded. We have a great logo. We're not changing the logo. We haven't changed the logo through the past season, and we won't be in the future. We may change the tagline a little bit, but we're sticking with the logo because we're really well branded. And we got great positive comments on the logo that we launched with last season. The signage has been 24/7 on Broadway at the event site, creating an easy identification opportunity as well as free marketing. Special events and complimentary promotions were created to enhance exposure, traffic, and marketing opportunity. So Yvette, who just sang, we found Yvette. She performed for us at one of the special events we did, Art and Jazz, huge success. So now we're going to be doing that on a monthly basis. We're going to bring that event back. We're going to have Yvette singing for us, and we're going to create this phenomenal jazz and artisan event. Our offerings of vendor products are unique from many other markets. We're not a green market, we're not a farmer's market. We want to be tiki market and create that. And our job this year is to further develop that. The customer service was highlighted with market management always on site. Allie was on the floor. Like a good restaurant when you go to it, it's great when you see the management on the floor. I insist management be on the floor of the tiki market to talk to customers, be sure vendors are all well. The above produces a very happy and professional venue ambiance, and that we had. Parking patrons will be reviewed as the Marina Village gets busier and busier, and we have to be sure that the parking for the people coming to the tiki market at Marina Village are well accommodated. We are helping to incubate small local businesses as vendors. Once a market staple is now rarely offered. I can tell you from running many markets in Palm Beach County, to incubate businesses is one of the great things we can accomplish. And it's our job to work with businesses that are in the Riviera Beach city area and residents and people that make and craft items and bring them to the market and help them get to a larger scale business. And markets are good for that because it's a great venue for market testing a product. The concept, the marina, starting point for conceptualization, this particular market was the Marina Village itself. We're tapping into the location. We're capitalizing on renovated marina's profile. It's key to the future of the tiki market exposure. And the combination is a blueprint for success and sustainability. And we're well on the road to that after the first year. So the market components, we're neither, as I said, a farmer's market, a green market, flea market. We're really a marketplace with activities, entertainment, great selection of vendors offering a mix of food and handcrafted products. Food-wise, we think prepared handheld eats and drinks such as conch fritters, fried plantain, rum cakes. We had coconut cookies, we had spicy barbecue. We had a great selection of food at the market. And it changed from time to time. And in the non-food vendors in the artisan categories, we had woven bags, straw bags, sarongs, just many different textile products. We had a great selection of product, and it was all very colorful. The late afternoon has worked out for us. There's too many markets in the morning, and when we developed this, we realized that we wanted the happy hour vibe, and that we got. So we're late afternoon, we start at 4 o'clock, sometimes we start a bit earlier if we're doing a special venue, but we're meant to be that happy hour, fun, playful vibe, and it's perfect for families as well. And there's very few, I don't know of any other markets that operate in that late afternoon time frame, and also with the food component, it worked out well. The look, feel, and vibe to creating the concept. Music, as we spoke about, and the music does change every week. Sometimes it's live. We do that as much as the budget will allow. We also have hired DJs to perform, and we also have speakers where we can play recorded music. And we start that as soon as the vendors start to arrive to set up, just so they have the great vibe, and they get the ambiance that we're creating, and then as soon as people arrive, it's happening. We do islandy style decorations. We have cafe tables and chairs. We're going to get more of those. People like to come and eat. They need a place to sit down and relax and have a great view of the marina. So we're going to augment the furniture that's at the market. Signage is a memorable logo, which, as I said, we're going to repeat this year. And live entertainment. We love people dancing in the market and having a great time. It's a spirited, kid-friendly, engaging, participatory activities which appeal to families and encourage them to hang out. And that's the goal of the Tiki Market. We're going to involve more local businesses this season for self-promotion. It's a fast way to garner community support and enthusiasm for the market. And we're also creating more special events. So we also want to incentivize patrons and vendors to like our pages. So from a marketing standpoint, we've realized that social media is the best route for us to go, and TV ads. We also got a clip from PBS, as you probably saw on the television, but we did buy some TV time, 15-second spots bookended, and we got great response from that on Channel 25. And we also do social media, and this year we're going to make it a requirement of vendors who participate and have an Instagram account, Facebook account, to also share and multiply out the exposure of the market. And I was watching Shark Tank, and Mark Cuban was on with a business that he'd supported financially, and he said to a lady who was doing soaps, you have to do videos, because videos you don't pay for. They'll remove it if you put your image of the product. You can have the image of the product, you just can't say it. So last year, we worked with Travel Stoosh, and we did videos. And Travel Stoosh was in it as well as the other vendors, but in the voiceover, there was no name of the specific businesses. So learned that from Mark Cuban, and it seemed to work well for us last year. So we did the TV ads. We did a direct mail of the logo and information on the back, 8,000 within the city of Riviera Beach, and a little bit went into Old Northwood in West Palm Beach. We advertise in local and nearby neighborhood newsletters, and we distribute the EDDM cards. Those are the Every Door direct mail, and flyers to residents and condos. The Facebook is constantly being updated, as is Instagram, so we're really going to work harder on social media this season. Tiki Market created to enhance Riviera Beach Marina, the Marina Village experience. And that's us for season 2 coming up, and we're opening mid-October.
One of our stellar Caribbean artisans, Travel Stoosh, who has been very successful at the Tiki Market at Marina Village, has a little sample of her islandy products that she sells at the market. Madam Chair, may we approach the dais?
You can hand it to them, and then also I need to know what is the amount of the gift, because we can't take gifts, so that's important to know how much that is.
They are under $20.
We'll just,
I think you're good.
we're good?
Under 20.
Okay, all right. You can give it to them, and then they'll bring it. They'll give it to us. Thank you so much.
We also, while you wrap yourself in the beautiful Caribbean-inspired sarong, please also enjoy a fresh cold-pressed juice from our amazing vendor feeding the multitudes.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Fresh cold pressed juices made locally.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
That over there.
All right.
Good, then.
You can just put them on there, yeah. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Is that the end of this presentation, or, huh? Okay, tell them, come on.
Okay, we're
Okay.
Thank you, and please enjoy a short video clip of our market.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate the Tiki Market coming over and giving a little life over there to that area. So hopefully we can continue to grow it.
That's good. That's very good.
Any comments from the board?
I just wanted to ask, Madam Chair, how do you market to residents of the Riviera Beach in terms of being vendors?
The Tiki Market is featured on our website. And anyone who wants to be a vendor at the market is welcome. They just have to come in and complete an application. We're always trying to grow our vendors. The only one requirement is that we want all of our vendors, our existing vendors, to be successful. So the only limitation is we try not to get too many vendors who would offer the exact same product. But right on our website is anyone who wants the information for the vendors can download it, and then they can also get an application online and apply to be a vendor. So we're always looking for more vendors, and anyone who's interested, please go and look on our website, and that will send you to a link where you can download the application.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Mr. Evans, how long is the Tiki Market running? What is the time frame on when it's going to actually be active? It's every Sunday, right?
Yes, so it's every Sunday between October, the first week in October will be our first one of the season, and then that will run through May.
Right.
And it's every week, and then once a month, we try to do an extra special reason to draw people who maybe don't come down every week, to give them a new reason to come down, or maybe come down for the first time, be it different type of music events, or jazz, or different focus on types of food.
Because I think they had a gospel one time, and I think that drew a lot of people down there that time. So that's good with the variety. Any other questions from the board? All right. Mr. Evans?
Okay, the next item that I would like to talk about is far less exciting than the Tiki Market. This year, for our operations and administration budget, we've been able to basically keep the same costs in line with what last year's was. Our administration budget last year was $1.28 million, and this year it's going to be $1.27. This includes items like our office lease, our liability and property insurance, the professional services, our finance, our audits, our grant support, our property and park maintenance. One of the things that the CRA maintains is all of the landscaping along the 13th Street corridor, all the way from Barack Obama Highway through to the Marina Village. So that's included in our property and park maintenance. This also includes our special events. That includes CRA board support for CRA board community events at our event center, our partnerships with the city for MLK and 4th of July activities, and we're also working on promoting tourists for Marina Village, promoting our existing businesses who are already operating down there, which includes 5 or 6 fishing, 2 diving operations, parasailing, jet skiing, and a lot of other marine-related business, including the water taxi that we're always trying to grow and increase the amount of people who are coming to visit Marina Village. So that's included in this budget,
Go ahead.
as well as our parking lot
Hold on
lease.
1 minute, Mr. Evans, hold on.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mr. Evans, but in your Riviera Beach CRA budget and work plan that you have, you spelled my name wrong.
I'm sorry about that. Our apologies, we'll get that corrected. I was going to make it. Okay.
Mine is.
We will get that fixed immediately.
Here? Yeah, I see it.
I couldn't get past that page.
We also include, we lease property over behind the Ocean Mall, which provides up to 45 parking spaces for the public. That lease is also included in our general administration, as well as our training, capital expenditures, and board travel.
Just wanted to point out on the, like the 6th line from the bottom, the travel and per diem for the board, that's 10,000 per board member, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can utilize that
With
for
the-
anything that's redevelopment or improving the city related.
Okay. Any questions on this page for anyone? All right.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Evans, quick question. Special events, I see that was allocated $150,000 last fiscal year. Do you know what we spent to date? Special events?
Yes, I think we spent almost the entire budget, so I would say about 90% of our budget.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
The personnel changes, we're planning to only increase, per our previous workshops, we will keep the same existing staff as we had last year, but we would add 4 new positions under our ambassador program. This would take us up to approximately 19.5 or 20 if you include some of our gardening activities. So we would have 4 new positions proposed, and largely those new positions will be added to our Neighborhood Services Department under the Clean and Safe program. And part of the board comment we received during the workshops was that we really needed to increase our focus and our attention that we pay to our neighborhoods. So that's where those new positions would be added. The salaries, accordingly, we have maintained similar salaries to last year, only a minor increase, which would be for cost of living, and up to 2% for performance evaluations for the CRA employees. This also includes the Marina Event Center, which is managed by 3 staff members, which includes our event center manager, our events coordinator, and our assistant who mans the front desk. So they continue to be a new team, and we're really happy with how the event center is starting to attract more business. The Clean and Safe program is split up into several different sections. They support our Marina Village, they support our event center, and then they also do our neighborhood cleaning and improvements. So with that, I'd like to present an update from our Clean and Safe team. Based on some of the feedback we got from the first workshop, we are proposing some changes to try and make enhancements to our existing staff
One thing
salaries.
before you go, Mr. Evans, for the 2 finance specialists, how does that tie in? Finance runs through Mr. Sherman, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So what do the 2 finance specialists do on the
So
series?
Mr. Sherman helps oversee the activities that our finance specialists do.
Okay.
So they spend about 3/4 of their time at our office and about 1/4 of the time here working at the city, working directly under Mr. Sherman to make sure that all of our logs, entries, and our GL is done according to the city standard.
Okay, okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd also like to see on your personnel summary by division, and you have just numbers here, I'd like to see the salaries that are listed for these positions.
Okay, we will post that.
Anyone else? All right.
Mr. Evans?
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members.
Good evening.
Based on our first budget workshop, we listened to your comments and recommendations, and this presentation is going to incorporate some of those changes. So as we did last time, this presentation will be done by both Nehemiah Spence, our operations manager, and myself. The agenda, we're going to go over the proposed 2020 additional staffing, the 2020 salary, benefits, and operating budget, the policies and procedures reviewed dealing specifically with the new STEP program based on the changes that were recommended. Under neighborhood operations, we're going to look at the area of responsibility again, the changes for the next fiscal year. We're going to look at the ambassador training that we're currently doing and are going to continue to do, and then we're going to look at the marina operations. On our org chart, basically each operation is going to have a total of 9.5 to 10 FTEs, and that is, as Mr. Evans said, is going to depend on the gardener and how we're going to manage that. But this operation is going to enable us to fully staff both operations and expand in our neighborhood services. Our budget is broken down with administration, neighborhood ambassadors, Marina Village ambassadors, and then the event center ambassadors. And We've broken each category down based on the key areas: salary and wages, retirement and benefits, and FICA. Taken in our operating budget for the next year is, as we discussed last time, contract services, communication services, utilities, rentals and leases, repairs and maintenance, promotional activities, office supplies, operating supplies, training and employee development, and capital equipment, for a total of $242,970. We're proposing this year, and this is from input from the board, that we do across the board a $1.50 an hour increase to all the ambassadors. That's going to enable us to start new full-time ambassadors at $13.50 and part-time ambassadors at $11.50. And then each year thereafter, they get a progressive increase. And as you can see by the chart, after they've been here 6-7 years, they're making a nice salary, in addition to all of the benefits that we provide them. We'll also have 2 night porters. This will be contracted services. And again, to enable us to fully support customers that are coming to Marina and want to start the events at 7 a.m. in the morning. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nehemiah.
I have a question, Mr. McLeod. What is the criteria for an ambassador position, education level?
They have to have a high school diploma,
Mhm.
and that's basically it.
Okay.
And we do the training from there.
Okay, thank you.
And right now, well over, I believe it's 60% of our employees are Riviera Beach residents.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to ask again, I know that they had a presentation with this before, but I'm looking at this map that they proposed in terms of boundaries, and what's the difference between these positions and Public Works? I know they have some specific areas, but remind me again, because I remember a presentation that you gave, but just have me to be clear about the difference in the 2 positions, or the difference in the 2 duties, or however you want to put it.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Good evening.
I'm Nehemiah Spence, Operations Manager. To answer your question, our job is to change the perception how people see the city of Riviera Beach by having a high presence within our high boundaried areas, to include our Broadway corridor, Ocean Mall area, Blue Heron Boulevard. We're into the neighborhoods now where we're assisting residents with information about meetings that we may have. We do events inside of our neighborhoods. We also ensuring vacant lots is free of trash and debris. We sidewalk sweep all of the sidewalks in the neighborhood. We pressure wash where is needed within the neighborhood, and also within the CRA boundaries.
Now, to kind of go along with her question, though, you remember the last meeting, I had a concern about the ambassadors doing a little more, probably that's taken away from Public Works. So you all did look into that, right?
Yes, I met with one of the managers of Public Works. We went over our different jobs and what we do. At times, if we're going through an area, for instance, if we're going through the 13th Street corridor, we're not going to, leave anything on the ground, anything like that. If we see pond farms or something like that on the ground, we're going to pick it up. When I met with the manager, we spoke about their areas of responsibility as it pertains to our area of responsibility. So we have a pretty good understanding of what we do compared to what they're doing.
And what we're doing is not duplication of what Public Works does. They have to do various services citywide. Our services are in addition to what they're doing. And so there's no duplication related to that.
That's it, Ms. Lanier?
Yes.
Anyone else? All right.
Excuse me, a good example of that is we're supplementing the Public Works Department, for example, on our sidewalk sweeper. The city doesn't have a sidewalk sweeper. So we're out there sweeping the sidewalks, picking up the litter along the walkway, which traditionally isn't the job of Public Works. So that's how we're supplementing their services. The same thing with pressure washing. We pressure wash the flat bridge twice a week. We pressure wash areas within the CRA that need it on a continual basis. Again, this is something the city Public Works Department doesn't do because it's not part of their charter to pressure wash individual sidewalks. So again, we're supplementing the services of Public Works.
So you pressure wash E Avenue?
Beg pardon?
You pressure wash
The
E Avenue?
bridge.
Yes, the flat bridge.
Not even.
I'm not, what is that?
Okay,
Where's
when
that?
you come over the Blue Heron Bridge, then you got the flat section where everybody fish from.
Yeah.
Okay, it's constantly a mess from fishing. So we pressure wash it twice a week to keep it clean.
Okay.
Not E Avenue. You said E Avenue?
Yeah, I asked for, I said, do they pressure wash E Avenue?
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
Well, if we see, for instance, a sidewalk or an area that needs our attention, yes, we will do that.
We hope that someday we do have sidewalks on E Avenue south of Blue Heron, but right now with no sidewalks, there's no pressure washing on E.
There's a couple of them, but go ahead.
All right. Anyone else? All right, go ahead.
Okay, our area's operation is the Broadway Blue Heron corridor along with Singer Island. We're in the Riviera Beach Heights community, also our Park Manor South community. Our expansion area that's from Lake Shore, we're going west to Avenue F, and north and south from East 22nd Street to Silver Beach Road. We're starting our landscaping of CRA-owned properties that we have 10 property that we're going to be responsible for landscaping.
It's okay.
Part of our training program with our ambassadors, we have our orientation program for all new ambassadors. That's over 80 hours of training. And this is just a snippet of what we do with our training program. We make sure they know our missions, our value, goals, code of conduct, ethics, and duties and responsibility. We have a comprehensive customer service training program, and also we do crime prevention so they understand exactly what we're looking for and how do we report suspicious incidents to the Riviera Beach Police Department. All of our ambassadors are CPR first aid certified through our fire department. We have a training program on conflict resolution. How do we deal with panhandlers? We have information for programs that the city has and also Palm Beach County has, and we're able to give literature to anyone that's in need of information. We also are trained in public safety, civil disputes. So we do a lot as it pertains to getting our new ambassadors acclimated into that. We have a 40-hour on-the-job training program. After the classroom work, we teach them how to use all of the equipment that we have, including our landscaping equipment, our sidewalk sweeper, pressure washer, because safety is number one. And when we started our STEP program, we wanted to get a comprehensive training program that was going to help our ambassadors to progress up, to train them on different things. So we went through the Leagues of City where they have their online training courses. And part of their requirement is to do so many courses per quarter. And it's a wide variety that pertains to the clean and safe field. And what we'll do, we'll set goals for our ambassadors in order for them to start the training progress. And this is just a little snippet of some of the training, preventing accident in the workplace, developing leaders, dealing with heat stress, time management, and it's just a lot of different training that we use. The ambassador will receive a certificate of completion, and in turn, we will enter that into their training file. So we'll be able to document all the training that they received. One of the things that I wanted to do is with our senior ambassadors, to prepare them for becoming supervisors, manager, and leaders. So I developed a leadership training course for our senior ambassadors that include leadership mastery, leading people to work as a team, empowerment, superior customer service, and conflict resolution. And under each one of these subheadings, we have different parts of that. For instance, in the leadership mastery, we have what does it mean to be a true leader. So we expand on that. In each one of the headings is 2-hour courses where we go through all of the headings and the subheadings. In preparing for this, our upcoming safety toolkits, we're training our ambassadors and other volunteers on our safety kits to include how to install our Ring video doorbell. We're going to continue with our smart water, exterior motion sensors, our smoke detector with the 10-year batteries. We want to uniform our address number and complete our emergency contact sheet, and also have our lollipop signs showing that we have our safety toolkits. In order to do that, we're going to ensure that all of our information is uniform, so when the time comes, we'll be able to go out and do what we need to do. Once we start to implement this program, we're going to break it down into 3 areas of operation within the neighborhoods. And we'll have our Riviera Beach Heights, our Park Manor South, and also our expansion area. And part of what we'll do, I've already met with Riviera Beach Police Department to get a 3-year crime analysis. And once the program starts, we'll be able to get another crime analysis 6 months from now, and then another 6 months, so we can really measure, is this program working, so we'll be able to continue to implement it.
And with the Marina Village Ambassador team, again, we will have our day porter team, which will include the 2 overnight porters, our Marina Village team providing village-wide litter pickup, sidewalk sweeping, pressure washing, concierge service, shuttle service, event setup and breakdown for the event center and Marina Village. And as always, we do it with a smile. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board? All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just one question. The walking concierge service, what is that?
All of our ambassadors are trained as part of their training program to know where significant locations are. For example, if someone says, how do I get to the Port of Palm Beach? They can tell them. How do I get to the airport? How do I get to West Palm Beach down to the, whatever is it? The major shopping outlet mall. They can give them all that information and tell them where it is. You know, when does the ferry leave for Peanut Island? How do I get to the city beach? Or from the marina or Ocean Moss side, they'll say, where's the marina? How do I get there? So we can give them specific directions. And that's being a walking concierge. Plus, we tell them about upcoming events that are occurring at either the marina or when we hear about events going on at the city beach.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Our next item is the Marina Village enterprise. And Marina Village, of course, includes Bicentennial Park, the Marina Event Center, our public promenade where we host the Tiki Market. It includes our parking lots, our overflow parking lots located on Spanish Courts, and additionally our beach area. And then we also coordinate with Seven Kings, who manages the docks on behalf of the city. And this year we're proposing multiple events, which we'll present later, to hold at the marina. Marina Village, we need to grow as a destination. We've invested millions of dollars in infrastructure, and we'll be looking forward this year to proceeding with Phase 2 and bringing that to you starting in October. The whole project overall this year, we've had some cost increases related to the Marina Event Center and to the Marina Village in general. And those main areas I'd like to point out is that we have started new contract services. And this is an overnight cleaning company who only works during the busy hours of the event center. And that's if we have an event that ends, say, at midnight. And then the next morning we have an event that's coming in and starting their setup at 8 a.m. There's not enough time to clean the event center and to set up the rooms for the switch over to the new event. So our contract services is a cleaning company that's hired as an independent, and then we use them to come in on our busy nights, which is Thursday night, Friday night, and then once on the weekend also, to clean the event center at night. And that way we don't have to have a midnight shift for our ambassadors for cleaning, which would of course require a supervisor also.
Madam Chair? So this is only used when we are aware that there's going to be such an occasion where we have a late night event followed by an early morning event?
We use it on a regular basis, but we have the ability to expand or contract how much we need it, yes.
Thank you.
So the 131 is how much is allotted, or is that the contract amount?
That's the total maximum amount that we would utilize.
Do you know how much we've used so far? Well, this is new, coming up.
Yes, this is for the new.
Now, how often do we have that occur, where we have a late night and an early morning? Does it happen
Almost
all-
every weekend, we have a turnover where we need to have the facility ready in the morning. Our busiest nights are Friday night and then Saturday. Those are our two busiest times. So we need to have the event center cleaned on that evening every single weekend. It's very rare for us not to have a Saturday event and a Friday event. I just do want to point out that there are other contract services that includes, we have an environmental company who comes in and treats for pest control, for example, in the building. We also have waste management costs, CCT camera support, and then a couple of other IT services that are all on contracts that help keep the building in working operation. For example, we have Marina Village-wide Wi-Fi, which is another contract service I just want to mention. Another cost that we didn't budget for this year that's part of the increased cost to you is the Solid Waste Authority charges an annual fee, and the city doesn't pay it, but the CRA is required to pay it. So we didn't budget for that this past year, but fortunately we had enough contingency to pay for it, but you're seeing the increase in costs due to Solid Waste Authority, which is over $50,000 a year total for us to pay for the disposal of the waste. I will point out a couple of other changes that have occurred. We were able to decrease our insurance this year from $100,000 to $85,000.
Can you go back to the event center one?
Yes.
The operating supplies, did you not?
Yes, and I apologize. This is kind of difficult to read. If you look at this year, we moved from the city's previous accounting system to the new Tyler accounting system. So if you look at the line item for repairs and maintenance, see how it's going from $157,000 to $105,000. That's a decrease, but it's really just a very similar cost because we've simply moved operating supplies under the city's new Tyler. That's a new category that we have, so that now all operating supplies are shown in that category. So it's not a new charge for operating supplies, we're just reclassifying how we charge our different line items so that it's consistent with the city. And fortunately, this year, we won't have, next year going forward, we'll be able to keep all of our new line items, so we won't have that complication.
What about the capital machinery and equipment? What's included in that
Sure.
35?
I'll introduce, let Rod, who is our facilities manager, come up. I'd like him to talk about both the new capital that we're proposing to purchase at the event center and for Marina Village, because we have new capital in both of those categories.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
And also the taxes and other charges. There was a significant increase for there as well.
Yes, that line item is, the main amount of it is for the solid waste authority amount that I referenced.
The capital equipment for the Marina Event Center, our proposal this year is for replacement of some lobby furniture, an lectern stand, put in a lightning protection system for the Marina Event Center, and then we have a contingency. The reason we want to put in a lightning protection system is a year and a half ago, we got hit with a lightning strike, and it cost us $15,000, and our insurance deductible was, I think, $7,000, so we had out of pocket. They decided not to build any lightning protection in the building when they built it, so this is the biggest cost to get that lightning protection system in place. And so that's our capital for the event center. The capital for the Marina Village, we're looking to get a scissor lift because we have to clean the lights chandeliers inside Newcomb Hall. We also, planning on replacing the banners on Marina Village 3 times a year. So if we have our own scissor lift, we can do that. Plus, anytime I have a camera that goes out, I have the scissor lift. We just have to pay our technician to come in and fix it without having to rent a scissor lift all the time. We're looking at, as I said, the pole banners to replace all of them 3 times a year. We're looking at replacing our traffic cones and pedestrian barricades so that we have more readily available, especially for the Christmas event, to prevent people from climbing over everything. And we're also looking at a 40-foot cargo container that we would like to potentially store at Public Works. And the reason for this is we have no storage space at all at Marina Village. And we need to be able to offload some of this equipment so we can store it. And all this equipment is left over from the original construction. So, any questions on the capital equipment?
I don't have one about capital equipment. Does anyone have any about that particular item? No.
Okay.
You were on the Marina Village slide?
Yes.
So the contract services for that particular line, what's included in that?
Well, primary, we have to maintain our fountains, including the children's fountain, which needs weekly monitoring. We have Hewlett Environmental, who are also treating the grounds for pest control. Mako Pools actually is the company who maintains both of our fountains, and then we have the main fountain also, which is on the promenade, and that also needs maintenance. It includes waste management fees, because we have to pay a fee to waste management to pick up our waste, and then that's separate from the Solid Waste Authority, who charges us a disposal. We also have to do ongoing, Bradford Electric has a contract with us to do electric upgrades, electric improvements, and then the main cost is Brightview landscaping. So that's just that, and again, that change is just showing in a different category than it was previously, but that is to maintain all of our landscaping and our vegetation that's on the site.
Okay, and so for the items where we went from 0 to an amount, like tech services, other charges,
Yes, like for tech services, previously, it was all billed to a different line item. We split it up because we have tech services in Marina Village, which is for our cameras. Rather than charge everything to the event center, like we're just trying to get it to more accurately represent exactly where those tech And when we had the ability to do a new line item categories under the new Tyler system, we took our time to make sure that we could add all the new categories so that it was a real accurate reflection of where those expenditures were. So rather than charging all IT to the Marina Event Center, now we can create a new category so it's also charged to Marina Village.
and you don't have to go give it now, but if you can get the breakdown of what it is that's included in the 69,000 for other charges?
Okay. We'll provide that to you via email following this meeting also.
Anyone else for this slide? All right.
Okay. I would like to introduce Anita Jenkins. She will provide an update on neighborhood services.
Good evening, Madam Chair,
Good evening.
Commissioners. At last meeting, I presented an overview of neighborhood services, and listening to your comments in terms of wanting to see some budget numbers, I came back with some updates.
All right.
Just to recap, with our neighborhood services group and our planned activities, we're showcasing some of our strategic partnerships, because with the resources that we have, we know we need to leverage those resources. So just to remind you of our various partners, from Palm Beach County to the private sector, including the city of Riviera Beach as well. And the proposed overall budget is a reduction from last year at about 2.8 million overall. And the detail for that is, and I have to go to another page because I can't see that very well, if you'll give me a minute. Just to show you the line item, for our community garden, we're proposing $140,000, and that includes expansion of our community garden program, including staffing and supplies, and I'll talk about that budget in just a minute. It includes our neighborhood outreach at $50,000, our smart home program, and this is a contribution from the neighborhood services budget for the program that was outlined in Clean and Safe. Our community and economic development programs and activities at $36,000. Our community boating program, which we've undertaken for the last 7 or 8 years, and that's at a constant $30,000. Our various housing initiatives comprise the bulk of the neighborhood services budget. First-time homebuyer workforce at $550,000. Our workforce rent-to-own, which is a new program we'd like to bring forward, at $250,000. Our housing beautification program, $200,000, and that is continuing what has been a very successful program for us this year, where we're providing housing assistance for the exteriors of residents, owner-occupied residents in our CRA area. And a program that we're rebranding some of the things we've been doing, and we propose to expand under our neighborhood reclaim program, and that's at $1.1 million. Maintenance of our property at 1101 Avenue E at $7,500, and that's for the basic maintenance of that building. CDC support services is a constant at $350,000, with total uses at $2.8 million. And how does this break down? with our housing goals under the first-time homebuyer program, we propose to assist at least 12 first-time home buyers for a total of $550,000. And that would be soft assistance to assist residents to purchase homes in our CRA. Under the rent-to-own program, not everyone is ready to buy a house, but they're interested in seeking home ownership. We're proposing to assist 2 households at $250,000, and eventually those families will be in a position to purchase those homes. Housing beautification has a maximum of $20,000 per house, and we're proposing to do at least 10 homes to assist 10 homeowners. And under the neighborhood reclaim, it would be the acquisition of various parcels, our mini beautification program, and I'll come back to that in a minute, for the $1.1 million. And that is the budget for housing services at $2.17 million. Just some pictures to show you some before and afters for some of the housing beautification that we undertook in this year. And you'll see the before and the after, and the landscape. And those services include potentially a roof, windows, driveways, landscaping, fencing, lighting on the exterior, sod, etc. Looking at our people-based strategies with the CDC support, we propose to continue our neighborhood support, housing and economic development activities and services, managing the community garden program, etc., for a total of $350,000. And more specifically, our neighborhood outreach activities and programs at $50,000. The last one is just a picture that sort of showcases our community and economic development with our Small Business Resource Center, and we're proposing $36,000 contribution from the CRA, which is leveraged with other grant dollars that the CDC receives. And this would also include some assistance to junior achievement for our youth economic development programs. Just to further describe, and then I wanted to show you a 1-minute video of one of the programs to give you some detail on some of the line items to let you know what it includes. With our neighborhood outreach, it includes for advertising and marketing $10,000, direct mailing and publishing $3,500, web services $3,000, awards and specific assistance $5,000, a contribution to the Riviera Beach Homebuyer Education and Assistance Program $15,000, and just pure community outreach $13,500.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Jenkins, where are you reading from? I was trying to follow along.
I have a handout with the detail that I'll, Shirley, could you assist me with passing this out, please? And I'd like to just show a brief video and then stop and take any questions.
Okay.
in the water. Live, all right? 3, 2, 1, everybody look. So pupfish camouflage with the sand. And it also has stripes like a giraffe. It's a camouflage.
And with that, that is so cute. I'll take any questions
All
if
right.
you have any.
Any questions, comments from the board?
Just a quick one, Madam Chair. So does the CRA, or do we support the Florida Fishing Academy too?
Yes.
Great, that's wonderful.
They provide services for our community boating program, and we do it at the level of $30,000 a year. And let me
great.
point out that our money serve Riviera Beach children. Florida Fishing Academy receives support from a number of other sources, and they support and provide services to children all over the county. They also do outreach with the school board to all of the schools in our city. And I know you all have seen the mobile marine lab, which is absolutely fabulous, but our money supports the children. And I'll just call to your attention that in your monthly invoices, there's always an attachment with a report from Florida Fishing Academy that shows the targets, and they exceed the targets that we agree upon and set each year.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Ms. Jenkins, could you give us some details on the first-time homebuyers program, the stipulations on what are requirements for these homebuyers? Is this a grant program? Do you have like requirements that they stay in the city for a certain period of time?
And we're going to bring back the specific requirements for you all to adopt. We do have a residential grant package of services, but we'll bring that back to you to review before we announce the program funding. But typical first-time homebuyer program where our dollars would be in a subsidiary position to a primary first mortgage, a private first mortgage. The buyer will be first-time home buyer, which means they could not have owned the home for 3 years. There will be stipulations in terms of how long they must stay in the house. And we're going to recommend at least 10 years, and it depends upon the amount of money and any other secondary financing that they receive. If they move out prior to that time, then they'll have to pay back the money pro rata. And it's a soft second where there will be no payment and no interest accrued as long as they stay in the house. They cannot rent it out, et cetera. So it must be a primary homesteaded residence. It could be an acquisition rehab, it could be new construction. It could be a townhouse, it could be a single-family home.
Okay, follow up, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
So these program are we following similar terms like the SHIP program and the SAIL program? Well, SHIP anyway?
We'd be following SHIP, yes. Which allows similar terms.
Okay. Well, I guess this question would be for legal next. If we put into the terms, since we're actually using the funding for this money, could we utilize this first-time homebuying program for employees of the city? Would we be able to specialize or cater that program specifically to them first right of refusal?
I don't see a prohibition on you doing that. I guess I don't know if to the exclusion of any other residents.
I wouldn't exclude, but I'd probably give them first right of refusal. to come in and have the opportunity of being first-time home buyers, starting with the employees of the city and the CRA?
On the surface, I don't see a problem.
Ms. Jenkins?
We would follow the guidelines, just to further add to that, we would follow the guidelines under home and ship. And those are some of the primary customers that we would be looking at to retain people in the city. And we could have a preference for veterans, for first responders, for teachers. And we're working with other partners to bring leverage funding, like the Federal Home Loan Bank, Neighborhood Lending Partners, exactly for that. And in our guidelines, we will recommend an additional step that if that person is an employee of the city or the CRA, that we disclose that, just to make sure that there is no appearance of any sort of conflict. And we'll follow guidelines that the county currently uses for similar circumstances.
My understanding, the county will not allow for us to put any specific guidelines or preference to any specific residence or class of individual, but depending on where these funds are coming from, I think that we have the ability to put that parameter in regards to how we provide first-time home buying. So if that is an option, if that's the pleasure of the board, I'd have an interest in offering that first to our employees with the city, and then offering it to the residents of Riviera Beach, and then outsourcing it further on.
Before we bring it back to you, we'll
If
make
you
sure
could look into
there's
that,
not an
if the
issue.
board is okay with that direction.
I'm fine with them looking into it. I just want to make sure that that is something we can do. Anyone else? All right, thank you.
For our last item, I'd like to introduce our Event Center Manager, Keandra Knighton. She has updated her events plan for next year. It's a robust plan designed to try and get as many of our residents and visitors to come to our Marina Village, to come to our different events, to gain our exposure, and to provide activities at the marina for our residents. She'll give you a presentation, and it also includes all the various costs and the partnerships, because some of our events are partnerships with other agencies also.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So what we're going to look at is just some planned events that we have. Again, these are all events that we discussed previously in my last presentation, but they're going to go into details as it relates to the proposed budget cost. Sorry, give me 1 second. So the first event will be the month of October, 50 Shades of Pink Breast Cancer Awareness. This will be a 3-part event where we will have a painting session on that Thursday. With this painting session, attendees will paint rocks, which will raise awareness for breast cancer. And with these rocks, they will leave them anywhere around the city that they desire. And someone else will pick up that rock and pass on that information so that we're keeping awareness alive and well within our community. For Friday, we will be doing a reception in honor of Darlene Hatcher. Again, this is the dedication of the ballroom to her, so it's very simple and a very quiet event. For Saturday morning, we'll host a breast cancer brunch. This will feature an esteemed panelist and a keynote speaker. We do have a wonderful, wonderful panelist already set, lots of breast surgeons, doctors, everyone to really discuss that journey of breast cancer when you're first finding out about it, when you're finding out you have to do surgery, how to live with it, and how to live post once you have survived. So we are really, really excited about that brunch. And it is definitely to inform all of our residents about breast cancer, even if it is not genetically within their families. It's still good information to know.
Is there a fee for any, I guess as we go along you can say, but for this one here, would there be a fee for this, or is it just a first come, first serve signing up?
It will be a first come, first serve event. There will be no fee assessed for attendees.
How many people would be able to participate in that? in those events?
For the painting event, we're looking at about 45 people, as that is the capacity for painting instructors. For the dedication, that will be about 50 people, and for the breast cancer brunch, we're trying to keep it capped at that same 50, but we are willing to open it to 80.
And is there a reason why we're not charging for any of these, well, this one?
For this particular one, we really just wanted to keep it open and allow for the residents to come out and be informed about it, as well as the very close deadline. October is pretty much next month now. Time is flying. So we wanted to make sure that we had enough time to market the event appropriately. And for next year's event, because we do hope for this to be an annual event, we do plan to hopefully charge for next year's event. But this will be the initial informative, come out and learn kind of event. So it will be a first come, first serve this year.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, thank you. So I'm certainly in support of this event, but in looking at it, we got 3 events. I don't know what the marketing budget is, but $15,000 for an event that has 50 people one day, 40 people the next, and then another 50. Are we talking about personnel salaries included in that? Because, you know, we're having an event that serves 150 people in aggregate total, and we're spending $15,000. You know, my suggestion is we kind of certainly want to support some of the initiatives, but, you know, it seems that we're moving more and more away from redevelopment. And I'm not going to belabor the point, but Mr. Evans, I'm going to ask, when you bring this back to us again, I'm going to ask if we can have a line item veto opportunity to strike some items out of the budget, because I can tell you some things that at least I've observed over the short period that I'm here. I think we can probably kind of go back to the drawing board on some of these other things, because, you know, it may not be the adequate time. And, you know, again, I have to repeat what we said before. A lot of these are duplicative. You know, a lot of the recreation services, the summer things that we do. I mean, we have a $5 million budget over in Parks and Recreation. You know, it comes a point where we kind of put our heads together on, you know, what's a redevelopment issue and what aligns with Parks and Rec. Now, I understand the neighborhood services component, but, you know, it just appears to kind of get a little clouded. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, go ahead.
So the next event is the Vibe Series. This is a series of events which showcase movies, and we're also going to do a comedy show. This is 4 different events. So we plan to have a fall showing of the new Lion King movie that just came out. This will be kid-friendly, and we're hoping to have bounce houses, characters come out, and entertain the kids in different games. For the winter showing, that will be the comedy show, which we plan to feature all of our local comedians to come out and definitely provide our city with that improv feel. There will be a spring showing for Toy Story 4, which again is a kid-friendly, allowing the kids to come out and hang out in Bicentennial Park and do bounce houses and all of that fun stuff. And then the summer showing will be that adult-friendly, where we'll be playing Fast and Furious.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
I like how you guys changed to a family-friendly series for the Vibe series. That actually will be beneficial. But also, if you do decide to do any adult features, again, possibly having like a kids' room or kids' entertainment area in conjunction with those adult series as well. Because parents want to get out and enjoy themselves, but they need somewhere to bring the kids. So that similar event may be something that you can possibly add on. But these events look good. The comedy show, I would definitely recommend partnering with a few. We have some employees that are actually local comedians, and then also with some local promoters and advertisers to help make sure residents get out to those comedy shows, so it can be well attending.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, continue.
We have Winter Wonderland, which is, again, that second annual event for this year. As discussed previously, we do have a bigger tree this year. We'll have the menorah and Kinara installation, different kid activities, Christmas caroling. Santa's parade will be even bigger and better. And then we will also feature a breakfast with Santa this year, where the kids can come out and enjoy breakfast with Santa and all of his helpers, and enjoy a nice breakfast.
And for this one too, as well, there won't be a charge for any of these that
Correct,
we're
there's no charge
talking
for
about?
Winter Wonderland.
Not Winter Wonderland, for the breakfast.
For the breakfast, no, not at this time.
Okay,
Madam Chair?
go ahead.
The number of residents that will be able to feed for the breakfast, how many people can we actually facilitate for that breakfast?
I will actually have Ms. Shirley Desir, who's organizing that event, give you a little bit more detail on the attendance for that.
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Shirley Desir, the Senior Administrator with the CRA. Breakfast with Santa will be our first annual event that we are hosting here, and we are looking to have about 100 participants for the event that day. We are going to max it at 130, but we're going to publicly announce 100 just in case we have some wiggle room for people to participate if they'd like to. We're going to have Santa breakfast. We are trying to give each kid that comes out to the breakfast a toy. We're going to have activities and games for them to be able to enjoy the morning.
We would be purchasing the toys, or we're getting
Right now, we
donations?
are in works of trying to get some toy drives to participate and donate and sponsor some toys to us.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Are we going to have a sign-up list for this event as well?
Yes, my team and I are currently working on a registration form, and we will be advertising that out soon once it's all approved and we're ready to go with it. And it's a first come, first serve. The parents will be dropping the application off at the event center, and there will be some requirements for you to be able to participate for the morning.
And how are you going to actually market this breakfast as well?
We will partner with Walter from the city to help us advertise this on the TV 18. We'll have it posted on our website. We will have some flyers for it. We're working on trying to shoot a commercial to get people to start being aware of Winter Wonderland. We have a save the date that we have in production at the moment so that we can start passing flyers out so that people are aware of it to have the date.
For both events, what I'd recommend is going directly to the schools before winter break actually goes out, and taking it to the principals, seeing if they can announce it, and possibly even hosting a event just to kind of showcase it, bringing Santa to the schools, especially for the elementary schools, and letting them go to like a lunch. They normally have lunch forums or meetings where they can actually spend time to actually see what we're going to be presenting, just to kind of build the excitement for the kids. So going to the schools and working with the principals, if we can build that relationship, that'll get a good attendance for both events.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to add that this would be our second Winter Wonderland, and that we'd like this to be a repeating annual event. We had over 2,000 people attend last year, so we're hoping to grow and exceed that number this year.
All right, anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
And we do have the lighting of the tree. Practiced, right?
We will do multiple test runs on the lighting.
Okay, so Brunch on the Riviera is the series where there will be a painting with a twist. So there will be painting as well as the beverages with brunch served as well. This will be a fee event. Attendees will be paying to attend this event, which that cost will be based upon our cost to get the actual painting instructors to come out, as well as the catering costs for the event. We are still doing 5 paintings from January to May. and they should all be themed within that month. So we're thinking of MLK, Love Inspired, Spring Inspired, Sea Inspired, and then Summer.
So what would be what do you think the cost would be roughly for people to participate in this? And then what would the $10,000 be for? It would be like $2,000 per session. What would that be going towards?
Correct. So currently, we have about 3 different quotes for painting instructors. There is Painting with a Twist, which is located in Boynton. They charge $40 per person to come out and instruct the class. There's also Uptown Art in West Palm Beach, down in City Place. They charge about $25 to $30 per person to come out and instruct. And then we also have a local resident who is charging $20 per person to come out. However, both Painting with a Twist and Uptown Art will promote on their website. So those are the things that we're looking at when it comes to those costs. That also marketing factor will be in there as well. The actual brunch cost is estimating about $2,000 per event, just for a brunch buffet to cover the attendance of 30 to 35. The cap is absolutely 45, but we do want to keep that wiggle room, so we will promote for 35 per event. Also, we will need sound and AV for the upstairs rooftop, which is where this event will be held, and the instructors need that microphone that everyone can hear them, and also a screen so everyone can follow along to what they're doing. So that is an additional cost as well. There will not be any decor at all, or if any, it will be very light because it is on the terrace, so we want to keep that airy, beautiful ambiance that we already have at the marina. And then there is also the cost for officers because alcohol will be present, as well as marketing.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Love is in Bloom will be featured in February of 2020. This will be an evening in the garden to feature our community garden. We'll have entertainment with jazz music, light bites, and just a nice atmosphere all together.
I'm sure Ms. Davis Johnson would be happy to hear that is continuing.
Yes.
I do want to continue to say I think there are some of these things we need to be charging for. I really I'm not comfortable with knowing that we're supporting all of these 100%. I mean, even if we charge some minimal price, I just really think we need to charge for something because we could be putting some of this money towards more neighborhood services or any other type of redevelopment initiatives. And it's, it would not, $10 to attend that, I don't think people would not come because it's $10. And it's still minimal, but we're still recouping some of the money from it. So some of these, I definitely think we need to charge some sort of fee for. What that amount is, I'm not sure right now, but I would like to see a fee. I'm not sure about how the board feels about any of these.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
I agree. Some small admission fee to some of these, I think, would be appropriate. Nothing that's going to break the bank, but something that shows that people, are willing to shell out some bucks to participate. I think it's a good thing.
We can also, in addition to that, look for sponsors to help offset some of our costs. So, like, look for a sponsor. It's Love is in Bloom, presented by,
right.
X.
Even if we had sponsors, I think it's good for the community to see, okay, I have to pay a little bit, not a lot, but just a little something to say, okay, I'm willing to, support the CRA and pay some admission.
Okay.
We will definitely look at that. Thank you so much. Okay. The art and fashion show is going to be in May of 2020, and it'll be called Embodied. Again, this is a fashion show where we will feature local fashion designers and also local artists to come together and embody each other's kind of creative mind is the goal for it all. This will be a ticketed event, so attendees will be paying to attend this event, and it'll just feature light hors d'oeuvres and some beverages. This will be a partnered event, so we do plan to partner with a local fashion designer to come in and kind of orchestrate this entire event for us. So this is something that we're looking at, but we do plan on charging for this one.
And so for the budget of this one, this would be, the money would mainly be going towards the light hors d'oeuvres?
Yes, it'll go to the food and beverage, the stage, because we would need to rent a T-shaped kind of stage, as well as lights. Lots of lights and sound, and definitely draping to hide the models that are coming in. So our main goal is to make sure the event center looks the part for this event.
Okay.
There will be large festivals, which will be a car show, which we plan to do Father's Day weekend, a Under the Sea food festival, and a Taste of Jazz and R&B concert. These are all tentative, but we do plan to work with a festival partner for these events, and we will also have a potential for food and beverage vendors.
Those specific budgets, because they're quite large, we will advertise for partners to make it an opportunity available to whoever wants to come in and be our partner, and then we will bring those events back before the CRA board for your approval before we proceed.
Right, okay.
Our city partnerships include the MLK Luncheon and Gala, our Valentine's Day Ball, Senior Prom, 4th of July, and Ocean Walk Concert. These events will mostly be sponsor packages and venue location.
What is the Ocean Walk concert? We've had that before. What is that? Did I miss
There's a variety of new concerts that we're going to be sponsoring, hopefully this year. One is by Hammerhead Productions. They're bringing new concerts to the Ocean Mall, or to the Ocean Walk property, and we're just a small sponsor to those events. But we would like to work towards bringing back a large event in the future on the beach. And I don't know that that would happen this year, but we would like to have some money in our budget to start planning and working with the city, with their partnership, to bring a large concert to the beach in the future. And I will say the bulk of those dollars go to, almost entirely all of it is for the MLK and 4th of July, which this year our sponsorship for MLK was about $24,000. So it's the main line item.
Okay. All right, anyone else? All right.
Our other partnerships include the Palm Beach North Chambers of Commerce Mardi Gras Kickoff and local Riviera Beach Art Show, Palm Beach North Regional Planning Workshops and Host Leader Workshops, Florida League of Cities regular meetings and luncheon.
I think that's should be Palm Beach League of Cities, probably, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My apologies. The Youth Sports Expo and the South Florida Sailing Festival, which has a tentative date of April 18th. We will have a tent at Mardi Gras to feature Riviera Beach local artists as well.
And I'd just like to add a little bit more info. Each year, Mardi Gras, in our partnership with the Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce, they do their kickoff to our Mardi Gras event to get more exposure to our event center. This year, we want to feature local Riviera Beach artists. So when we attract 200 people who are interested in the artist community, that we want to have artists be able to display some of their local art. In addition, as a part of that sponsorship, the Chamber provides us tent space at Mardi Gras. And what we'd like to do this year is provide that tent space to our local artists so that they can take advantage of the opportunity to perhaps sell some of their art.
Okay.
And then other than that, that's just a brief recap of everything we discussed and the proposed budgets for those items.
All right, any questions or comments from the board? All right, thank you. All right, so we're down to board comments or discussion. We'll start with You want to go first?
I just, when you mentioned the weather, I thought to myself, I better let people know that there's a strong potential that the Blues and Barbecue event at the Ocean Mall this coming weekend might be postponed, so be on the lookout for announcements from Hammerhead Productions. Sadly, it's their first event, and, you know, we look forward to having them reschedule it. I think they're going to have to come before council again to get another date to close that street over there, but I hope that we can reschedule it in the near future.
All right, Mr. McCoy?
Well, actually, Madam Chair, let me defer. I was going to ask a question about the dates that we have coming up for our next meeting. I know it was on one of these slides, but I'm trying to, can you tell me our next date to?
Yes, the next CRA meeting is September 11th. And at that meeting, we propose to present the complete budget to you for your consideration. And it's not only a budget, but it's a work plan, of course. We include narrative that describes all of the projects and the work that we propose to do over the year. So we'll just do an overview, but we won't duplicate what we've presented to you tonight.
Follow up.
Go ahead.
Is there a hard deadline for this?
Yes, the September 30th is the deadline to adopt the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I'm sorry, the next person. Ms. Lanier.
No, I don't have any comments.
Mr. Lawson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Evans, if you could give us a quick update on the Phase 2 marina, just on the status where we stand for moving forward.
Yes, we've received, the board asked the two developers, they asked the board to allow them to see if they could work together to come up with a combined plan to address the requirements of the RFP and to move forward with Phase 2 of the marina project, which would include a new hotel, several waterfront restaurants, a potential new food hall, some new residential development, a parking garage, which would really help move the Marina Village forward. So they have been able to work together. They have provided us a proposal. And the next step in the process is to approve the city, the CRA, as a combined group to begin negotiations with the proposed developers. And they've formed a new entity, which was part of our feedback to them was that we didn't want to deal with two separate entities, that they had to come to us in a combined approach. So they've provided that. So we're just awaiting, we need to meet with the city manager and get our negotiation teams agreed to before we bring that back to the CRA board, because the next step is to begin negotiation, and that's tri-party negotiations. And so we need, I'm aware that everyone's very busy with the budget process, but we're hopeful that immediately following the budget process, we'll be able to meet with the city so that we can all begin those tri-party negotiations.
Just a quick follow, Madam Chair. In reference to that, is there any possible way that the CRA can begin looking at some of the build-out that the developers are looking to do to begin the process of actually getting it started? Because I know we're trying to do a tri-county or a tri-party development, but right now there's some land that the CRA owns, there's some development. Even if we can get a parking garage moving, I want to get some shovel in the ground and get us moving with that Phase 2 project. We've been talking about it for too long, and I know that we're in budget season. I know that we're waiting on Mr. Evans, but I no longer want to continue to wait. So I'm not sure how we can expedite this process or what options we can look at.
We'll look at it, but one of the, maybe on the CRA-owned property, but there are a lot of balls up in the air. The uplands, marina uplands, are really owned by the city. So we really can't do anything with that until the city is prepared to come to the table and start negotiating. So, and it's I guess one problem, I'm not a planner, but in isolating, say for instance, the CRA property, is that it's not going to be comprehensive as far as entire development is concerned.
What about like Spanish Court area? I believe that's owned exclusively by CRA.
That is.
Both proposals I remember from last year and recently, they had parking garages available. even if we can get some parking going, we need to do something and make some progress. So I know that we're waiting on meeting with the city, and I know that we have the budget terms, but if we could just take a look at a few options to see what we have available to maybe just get us moving.
And the other thing we could do is we could start to analyze their proposal now in anticipation of being given the authority to begin negotiation.
Follow up.
Go ahead.
So can we be provided with those proposals, or is there some reason as to, what we're waiting on in the process?
The only reason I would hesitate is that if we do that, it's going to become public records. And we really just started negotiations. We haven't even responded to what they have presented. So let me see if we can do it in such a way that, we don't open up to that it is a public record. And if so, of course, we provide it to you.
So the regular RFP requirement still exists that until it's actually awarded, there's nothing public about it. So help me understand what it is that.
But if we provide it to you, as opposed to just being with staff, then it might be an issue. I would look at it, and if you, if there's no issue with, getting negotiations, it's hard enough negotiating with a public agency as it is, because everything is so open, so you negotiate it in public. But short of that, if the board wants it and there's no issue about being able, or I guess waiving any, not privacy, but waiving any ability to keep it from being public records, we of course make it.
So let me lay this on you, Mr. Haygood. So you're gonna work on a tri-party agreement, which is with the city. Oh yeah, by the way, that was us yesterday, so we are the city, and we're the CRA. So I just want to be clear. So this agreement, you mean city administration? When you work on the agreement that you're speaking with?
Well, no, they presented a proposal to us, so we haven't reached an agreement at all with them. They presented a proposal. I thought you were asking to see what they had proposed.
I am.
Okay.
But I understood that Mr. Evans said that we were waiting because there's a tri-party agreement that we're working on.
Right. In other words, we can't really, okay, so the next step was to come back to the CRA board and say, we reviewed this and we want you to authorize us to enter into formal negotiations with the team. And we can't really negotiate, we aren't in a position to do that because, of course, the city is such a vital party to any agreements or negotiations that we have.
Right, but I guess perhaps, so Mr. Evans, September 11th, do we foresee that we'll have another meeting for the second, I guess it's the fourth Wednesday, right?
Yes, we've reserved the fourth Wednesday in September for another meeting, yes.
How long do you need? Because, I'm trying to understand, you're going to present us with their proposal, and I guess at that point, what do we decide as a board? Do we decide that this is something that we need to kind of work with a little bit, or we may have some suggestions, or I want to understand what's the
So what you're
next
going to do is to authorize us to enter into negotiations with them for development agreement for doing the Phase 2 marina development.
Okay, but isn't this inclusive of us as CRA commissioners and city council members? If we see something in the proposal and we have input, at what point will we be provided that opportunity? When you present it to us for us to authorize staff to go into negotiations?
Once we begin negotiations, we'll really dive into the details of their proposal. We will then schedule workshops directly with the city councils, who are also the CRA board, to talk about exactly what they're asking for, what the terms of the transaction might be for the real estate agreement, and for the leasing, and what the schedule they're proposing would be. So yes, we will have direct workshops with the board to get your feedback on their proposal.
Follow-up. One last follow-up. So, I certainly understand and I respect what you're saying but I don't want to be presented with something when you guys get ready to go to the negotiation. If this is something that I don't understand exactly what the proposal is, so there's no way of me knowing as a member of the commission and also a city council member what exactly we're going to be faced with. If you're saying you have a proposal, right?
Yes. They have submitted.
Absent of the RFP process, I'm trying to understand why would we be preempted? Because, again, I shared this with Mr. Evans. We've had the opportunity to review some RFPs on the city side, and I thought the evaluation perhaps could have been reviewed by us as city council members, or in the alternative, we just outright rejected it. I know of two cases, one on the USD side, and then again also on the city side just last week. But in fairness, right, why do we even need to be put in a situation like where we would potentially want to reject something or send a developer to go back and do something when we have the opportunity to weigh in on it, while we're now reviewing it? Because I mean, quite honestly, every time we get to this point, there's always a hurry up and let's wait. And I mean, we're holding people out. And I shared with Mr. Evans this morning at our meeting, it's something when we ask people to come and invest in our city, we have to be ready for business, right? And I know there are some parameters, but within our procurement code for the CRA, please find out if there's something that preclude us as members from reviewing this, because if there's an opportunity for us to get started, I certainly want to see that, but I want to see it sooner than later. I mean, if we're talking about another 5 or 6 months down the line before we actually develop a plan, I mean, we're already going to be at 2 years.
So I just want to point out, we have to close the procurement loop. So that's really what, and so now that we have a new proposal, because before the board wasn't prepared, we asked the board to move forward, and the board wasn't prepared to move forward. The two teams asked if they could instead come back and work together. And now we need to close that process, that whole RFP process that we went through to select the team and then to start negotiations. As soon as we do that, then we can then bring you the materials and start to work on it and schedule workshops. The only hesitancy, because it's tri-party, we didn't want to bring that to you on the CRA side until we had the time for the city to bring their negotiation team to the table at the same time, and to have been able to look at all of the information and be ready to go forward as our partner.
But as far as the board being able to see what they propose to date, you certainly will see that before we come back to you saying we'll recommend approval, and you'll have time enough to review it. And at the time that we bring it to you, you can ask us any questions you want to about the proposal and how it's moving forward. Now, that is just their proposal to get started. Then you actually get into negotiations. Because, for instance, you may not want a hotel where they've said that the hotel, they want to locate the hotel. You may not like the food hall being where they suggested the food hall being located. So, yes, you will see all of that. And we will get to you in sufficient time for you to review it.
Independently, we are also moving forward with the land transactions to try and create the large parcels that we've envisioned in the RFP. Right now, there's a lot of small little parcels that are all over Marina Village that you couldn't really create this large-scale development. We have come to an agreement with Viking Developers to do a property swap, which was approved by the CRA board. That is all contingent on abandoning the old 13th Street. So that will be coming before the Planning and Zoning Board in September, and then to the City Council the following month in October. And so we are moving forward still with positioning the land for whoever the developer is to partner with the city and CRA to bring new large-scale development to Marina Village. So we're still moving forward with the land transactions to try and create that new development opportunity.
One last follow-up. Go ahead. Okay, so the RFP is based on the contiguous properties, am I right?
Yes, the RFP says, asks for two options. One, to build, construct on the property that we now control, and then it asks for another option that if we could put larger pieces of property together within the Marina Village, what would you do if you had more area? And the developers provided options for both of those scenarios.
Okay, so it's going to P&Z next month?
Yes.
And what properties do we control? Is that the Spanish Courts?
Yes, Spanish Courts, and then all of the property east of Avenue C with the exception of the Yachtsman.
So that's not part of the exchange, of course.
Right.
The exchange is that one block between 13th Street on the north,
12th
Avenue
Street.
C on the east, and Broadway on the west. So that's that block that really is contingent upon this abandonment and is subject to the exchange agreement.
Well, okay, so the Spanish courts, is that what you were referring to, Commissioner?
Yes, sir. That's owned by the CRA.
So the agreement wouldn't be subject to that property, the agreement that, I guess, whatever we're trying to seek from the city, that's the CRA's property?
Yes. If you would direct us to go ahead and not worry about the rest of the Marina Phase 2 and just concentrate on the Spanish courts, there would be nothing to prevent us. We don't need a third party to move forward on that. But my point was, the marina, this Phase 2 is supposed to be a comprehensive development. So, for instance, you say in parking, well, it's kind of hard because that's going to be parking for not just Spanish courts, but that's going to be parking also in part for the rest of the marina development.
Madam Chair?
So,
Just a quick follow-up. So when will this procurement loop be closed so that we can actually review the proposal? Because if we can look at the proposal and determine as a board what's going to be the next steps, and we could actually take a look and see what we can actually start working on developing if we know what land's owned by the CRA, if we don't have to wait on the city, which we are both boards. So I just want us to get moving. So how quickly can we get this proposal in front of this board so that we can kind of move forward?
give it to you tomorrow. I mean, technically, we give it to you tomorrow. I mean, we have.
I would like that. Let me tell you why.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because, can we have that on the agenda for tomorrow for discussion?
Tomorrow? Well, I think he meant
I think he means.
transmit the materials.
I mean, it's
Tomorrow would
yeah,
be too
transmit,
early
sorry.
to prepare.
But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is, if you're already going and you got this scheduled to go to planning and zoning next month for abandonment,
Yes.
it seems like that's backwards, right? We haven't solidified a deal, but we're gonna abandon the street.
No, the property transaction is not to benefit any particular developer. It's to benefit the city of Riviera Beach, our overall development. So regardless of who we select as our developer, the CRA is trying to take all of the property that's in the Marina Village and organize it so that we're able to go forward with some larger scale development. So it benefits us to proceed with that on an independent track, independent of which developer ends up being our selected.
It's the old 13th Street that's being abandoned. It's not a street that's currently being used.
But since we haven't yet met with the city related to Marina Village, I think the optimum timeline to allow enough time for them to review all the information, prepare their response, edit comments, get their feedback into the process, I would project to be the first meeting in October would be ideal. We can try to accelerate it. We're ready to move forward, but if you ask me to pick a date that would likely work with all parties, that would be the one I would tell you today. The first one, second Wednesday in October.
All right. Everyone's good? All right, and I don't have any questions or comments. Did you have any, Mr. Evans or Mr. Haygood?
No, Madam Chair.
No, Madam Chair.
All right, we stand adjourned.